Hi guys, it's me again. Sorry about no makeup or anything. I'm doing this video kind of late at night, and I was asked by, and acne, I've had a real bad breakout recently, and I can't put any makeup and stuff on it because if I try and put makeup on it, it just gets twice as bad. So I was asked by one of my friends if I could do a video about Lasik. I got Lasik done March of 2017, so it's been about a year now. And I've had quite a few people ask a bunch of questions about it, like does it hurt? Can you see right after? And things like that. And so I'm just going to go through a rundown of my personal experience with it. Um, so like I said, I got my LASIK done March of 2017. I think I went in for my consultation February of 2017. And they were having a deal that was like $250 an eye, so I ended up taking that deal. Well, trying to take that deal. You go in and you get a free consultation to even see if you're a candidate because your cornea's got to be so thick in order to do it and things like that. So I go in and they put me in a couple machines. One of them is like I think it either tests the pressure or like the density of your cornea. And so they put me on that machine, and some of you may know it, some of you may not. You're looking through it, and you're looking through the hole, and there's like a hot air balloon, and it'll get fuzzy and clear and fuzzy and clear. So there's that one, and then there's another one that when you're looking at the center thing, and it's kind of a disc, and there's like a little black or like bright light or something like that that goes like around. So you're looking at this little thing, like this little hole, and something's going around the hole and stuff. So, but yay, I find out I'm a candidate. Once I found out I'm a candidate, they told me that I actually do not qualify for the 250 and I because my vision was so bad. My vision was so bad that I actually had restrictions on my license. I could not drive at night at all. And so I knew I needed to get it done. Everyone always asked me, why don't you wear contacts? Why don't you wear glasses? Well, if I wore glasses, I had issues with my peripherals because I would see clearly out of the glasses, but if I looked outside of them or if I, the change in my vision where it would go from completely clear to completely blurry and crappy would constantly give me migraines and stuff. So it was just ended up better not wearing them. My contacts were getting pretty expensive every single year, so I couldn't wear those anymore because they just got too much money, and it would have actually been a better investment for me to go ahead and get the LASIK and get the lifetime warranty on that, rather than get 2 boxes of um, contacts every 6 months for, I think my contacts ranged around $400, about $200 a box. So they could get pretty pricey, and my LASIK was about $3,000 for a lifetime warranty. And they didn't offer anything else. I went to LASIK Plus in Dayton, Ohio, because Ohio is originally where I'm from, and so I just decided, and I would recommend LASIK Plus to anybody because they have a lot of financial options. Like if you can't pay for like a $3,000 surgery straight up, they do have a lot of financial options where they will help you out. Some of them were under $100 a month, so it's completely worth it. Um, so I set up my appointment, yada yada, everything goes good. They realized I told them, I was pretty scared and stuff like that, so they gave me a Valium and they said, take this when you first come in. And I was really worried because I'd never taken Valium before and I was afraid that it was going to like make me paranoid. It didn't, it was actually pretty mild and it just calmed me down just like it was supposed to, so I didn't have an issue with that. So the day of the surgery comes, I take the Valium and they take me into this beginning room. This beginning room, me and my mom are sitting in there, and this woman comes in. She's got a bag of stuff with her. This bag of stuff contained everything that I needed for after the surgery that I needed to take home. I had all my paperwork in it. It had sunglasses that I needed to wear because your vision will be very sensitive to light, and it's the middle of the day, so you need to wear these sunglasses. and then there was tons of eye drops. I think I still have some of the eye drops. Bunch of single-use ones, and then 2 bottles of um, regular, 2 regular bottles of the eye drops. And then on top of that, before I went to the surgery, when I went and got my Valium, I got 2 medicated eye drops from the pharmacy, things that I needed to have to keep infection and stuff away. And so I went in there, she explained the entire procedure to me, told me what they would do. And if you guys want to see the video, I'll put it at the end of this one. That way nobody gets freaked out. It's not a very high quality video, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. And it's only half the video because when they actually created the flap in my eye was not on screen. It was only when they were doing the procedure that my eyes were on the screen. Okay, so I lay down on this table and he tells me, look up at this red dot. And so I'm looking up at the red dot and I feel him pull. And I don't know, like because of my ADHD and stuff, I'm trying to look all over the room. He tells me, look at the red dot. And he's never mean about it. He's actually very, very nice. I think, he probably deals with a lot of paranoid people there every day. So he's just like, just look at the dot. So, and he puts these clamps on my eyes. Now, when I went into the surgery, I wasn't scared of, anything coming into my eyes. I wasn't scared of the laser. It was those clamps that scared me because when I was seeing the video, or like the videos online, because I did a lot of research before I decided to even go into the LASIK. I noticed like how wide it makes your eyes, like how much it stretches it, and I was like, man, that looks like it'll hurt because it really stretches around this area and stuff. So I was like, ooh, and I just visions of Clockwork Orange came into my head with that freaking scene where he's like eyes are stretched out and things, and I was like, that just freaked me out way more than any of the other parts of the procedure. So I actually had no idea he even really put the clamps on. Like I had a feeling of it, but it wasn't anything that was like scary and like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, It wasn't anything like that. And of course, they numbed my eyes before they even started anything, Back when I was in the room with my mom and they were explaining things to me, they already had put numbing drops in my eyes. I'm sitting there and they cover up one eye. They have something cover up my eye, and he just keeps telling me, stare at this red dot, stare at this red dot. So okay, I'm staring at the red dot, and my vision starts to get a little foggy, and at the time I didn't know. I thought I was going to get one of those things that, suctioned around your iris and then cut the flap. No, it turns out my procedure was completely laser. So what happened was I'm sitting there staring at the light and it just starts to get a little bit fuzzy. It's nothing overly intense or anything like that. I can still see the red dot. It's just kind of like a film or something, or like a fog is over top of my eye. I'm just looking at it through a fog. Um, so done with that eye, covers up this eye, starts on this eye, same thing happens. Then they take me to another machine. This woman, very, very nice, even though I could still see around me, she still escorted me and, helped me out to the other table. And I lay down on the other table, and this is where my mom, like in the video, you can see my eye pop up into the screen. And I'll cut the first half of the video out because nothing really happens there. So I laid down on the table and, they brought me under this machine. And when I was looking up, it was like a light. I can't remember if it was like blue or green. It could have even been red. I don't remember the color of the light. But it was like this little tiny light inside of a black disc. And, the disc is just part of the machine. But the only way I can describe it is like you're looking through the center of a record. And you're just looking up at this, and it's you're told stare at this light. And I actually kind of got really paranoid because they continuously put numbing drops in your eye constantly. They're not letting your eyes become unnumb at all. So actually I felt one of the drops on my cheek and I was like, I don't think it got in my eye. I don't know if it got my eye. I can't feel it. And his response, he's like, because your eyes are numb. So yeah, I'm pretty smart, and I think you probably thought that was hilarious, but I was just like, what? What do you mean they're numb? I can't feel it. It didn't go in, and yeah. So, um, this is a part that is kind of hard for me to explain because everybody else that I've ever seen the videos of, they're like, my vision just went black. You know, the only thing I seen was this light, my vision just went black. And I don't really feel like my vision went completely black. You know, he told me stare at this light. So that's what I did. I stared at a light and there's a black disc around the light. So it was kind of like, I didn't feel like I went blind or that anything went black. I just seen this light. And, you know, when he pulled the flap back, it didn't get any darker. At least I didn't think it did. Um, I mean, it might have gotten like maybe a smidge darker, but it wasn't anything different. I just was focused on the light and everything around the light was already black. So when I'm staring at the light, this was the hardest part for me personally because I have ADHD, like real bad sometimes. And um, when I'm staring at the light, when the laser goes off, lights start flashing around that one, and I had such an urge to look everywhere. I was personally paranoid that I was going to mess up my own vision by doing this. But the thing is, according to a couple sources and the doctor, is if the laser senses any sort of movement at all, it shuts off immediately. So you don't really have to worry about anything like that going wrong. So I'm just staring at the light, you know, and all of a sudden things start flashing around me. And it's almost like in this, you know, black disc, it kind of starts to get like a white fog, just like centralized in certain areas. Like, you know, I'll be looking up at the disc and there'll be like this little white fog start to slowly show up here. And then like a little patch of white fog slowly starting to show up here in my vision. But, you know, um, after just a couple seconds, I mean, I don't think I was in the room for more than 5 minutes at all. And I mean, I think he had quite a bit of issues with me looking where I needed to look at sometimes. When he went on to my second eye with the actual laser, um, I guess I did really good on that one because I was just like, get it done, stare at that light. So I didn't really want to move at all, but my other eyes, I was just like looking everywhere. So he gets done with that and he flips the flap back. Does a couple eye drops, blah blah blah, then covers his eye up and goes to this eye, or covers the other eye up, goes to the other eye. And again, same thing, stare at that light, flashes started going everywhere. I didn't really notice if everything went black because it was just kind of like I was so focused on staring at that light, and everything's black around that light anyway, so I didn't have much of an issue, you know. I didn't try and look in my peripherals and stuff like that, you know. um when I sat up off the table, the woman told me to look up at the clock. I looked up at the clock on the wall and my vision was so much better. I was almost on the verge of tears. Like I was so happy because my vision had been terrible for so long. And looking up at that clock with it being so crystal clear, and when I say crystal clear, it's hard to describe. It's so you can read it, you know, you can see the lines of it, the posters in the back of the rooms and the posters in the other side of the room my mom was in and stuff. I could see all of that, but there's still that little bit of like the fogginess over top of it, so you do still have to deal with like that haze over your eyes. So they take me from that table, put me on another thing where, you know, I had to situate my head in it. And he's looking at like the sides of my eyes, I guess, making sure he got everything perfect. And they were extremely thorough with explaining everything to me, and they made sure everything was done exactly how it needed to be. So I put my sunglasses on and I leave the office. Now, when I left the office and went outside, you went from low resolution to high definition. I mean, everything, you know. I could see little white specks on the trees. I could see everything so perfectly. And it was just an amazing moment for me because, again, I had not been able to see well for so long. And with the fact that I couldn't really wear contacts or glasses, my vision had always been so terrible. And I was looking to get my license probably taken away if I didn't get it done. And to go into that place and everything just be so fuzzy, you know, your life just be completely fuzzy around you, to you're walking out and you can see every definition of tree trunks, you can see every little crack in the road, you know, it's beautiful. So we're heading home, and the first thing they told me was I needed to go home and take a nap. They didn't really give me a recommended time, but they did tell me uh, about 4 hours at the very least. I ended up passing out for like 6 or 8 hours, so I didn't really have an issue. And when I woke up, you know, I had no problems at all. They just kept telling me, put these eye drops in. You do not want to get an infection in your eye. That's where the worst part happens, you know. If anything can go wrong in this entire procedure, it's infection in your eyes if you do not take care of them. And if you notice any extra irritation or something in your eyes, you might want to go, you know, you might want to go back immediately. You have a doctor's appointment the very next day anyway, but even after that, if you notice any irritation in your eye that you don't feel is normal, always go back. You want to make sure any infection in your eyes is taken care of immediately, because if anything would go wrong, that's where it would go wrong at. Um, and as for blindness, I don't think anybody's ever really, at least when I did my research, I noticed that there had never actually been any full documented cases of somebody going blind from the procedure itself. I think people have had pretty bad complications, especially with the aftermath if they didn't take care of their eyes correctly, or you know, if they got infection in their eyes, but it's nothing to really worry about that much. I mean, I had pink eye not long before I had my surgery, so that was a big concern for me, but I had no issues at all with infection, but I made sure to take my medicine, keep my eyes hydrated. That's like the biggest thing that you have to remember. Do all that. And so I went home, took my nap, and before I laid down to sleep, I could see what they meant, why they wanted you to take a nap. Because if you don't take a nap, it's very, your eyes do get quite irritated and get like a burning sensation. And I know that sounds intense, but it really just irritation is the only thing I can describe it as. I'm so tired. Why am I up still? You know, I felt a little bit of the burning on the drive home because it was about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour drive home. And of course my parents took me, so I didn't drive. But you know, I go home, lay down, and when I wake up, and I wore my sunglasses. I wore my sunglasses constantly. That's like the biggest thing I did to help myself, because I'm an eye rubber. You know, I'm constantly rubbing my eyes and stuff like that. And so the glasses really saved me a couple times. And I was real worried with the sunglasses and stuff that they would be extremely uncomfortable. But they were very form-fitting to my head. So it was like when I laid down, you know how when you lay down with glasses and your glasses shift, they weren't like that at all. They held snug to my head, and I didn't really have to worry about them shifting or anything. Um, so they were pretty comfortable. The eye drops, you know, with the amount of eye drops they gave me, I never felt lacking for them. And I know some people say they dealt with dryness in their eyes after the procedure. I never once felt that. My eyes feel no different now than what they ever did before. So I was really worried, you know, because it was about a month after the surgery and I still had some fuzziness in my eyes. Like there were some things that I couldn't see and all that. I still had a lot of inflammation, and that's what that is. That is inflammation in your eye, is when, you know, after the surgery, you still can't see everything 100%. And it actually took about 3 months for my eyes to get perfect. But after all the inflammation and stuff was gone, this eye took way longer than this eye. Um, After all the inflammation and stuff was done, my vision was perfect. I've never once had any complications, and this is a year later, you know, I've never had any issues at all with my vision. And, you know, it is a lifetime warranty, so if I'm like 60 years old and I feel like my vision's gotten bad again, I get to go in for free, you know, it's for free to go in and get your eyes checked again. And there was actually an old lady in the office when I went one time, and she was saying how the lifetime thing really helped her out because she had gotten her vision done like 20 years before. This place has been in business for a long time. but she had went and got it done before. 20 years later, she was having some issues. They brought her right back in because that was something she was worried about, was the fact that, well, what if I get this procedure done, get the lifetime warranty, and they keep trying to tiptoe around, not give me the surgery again. She said she got in right away. So I'm not too worried about the long-term issues. If I have any more issues in the future, I'm good to go. I'm going to look at some of the questions some people have asked me. Are you blind afterwards? No, you're not blind afterwards. Like I said, things are a little fuzzy, but nothing's super terrible. You don't have issues with not being able to see at all. And like I said, I never once had it felt like I was completely blind and couldn't see anything around me. Things got a little bit darker maybe, but nothing that was ever terrible. Okay, one of the other questions I got was, can you have LASIK if you have astigmatism? And yeah, that's like the basic thing that LASIK does, is it helps to fix that specific problem. Not just that, of course, but that is a big thing. Tons of people with astigmatism get LASIK done all the time. The only thing that I think you cannot get LASIK for is if your cornea is too thin. That's about the only thing that I can think you wouldn't be able to get LASIK with. But they, of course, check that out before you even get it done to see if you're a candidate. Another one is, how quickly can I return to doing my job, or doing my daily activity. And I was back to work not the day after, because I had the doctor's appointment right after, but the day after that. You can actually go back to work the day after your surgery. So I mean, it really affects nothing. I was driving and stuff the next day. I didn't feel like I was impaired to drive or anything. I didn't feel like the fog, that fogginess that was over my eyes. That dissipated pretty quick. I didn't feel like I was any danger to the road or anything. How long does it take? I think each of my eyes were only under the laser for a maximum of like 30 something seconds each. So my entire time from the start of my procedure, like actually sitting down in the machine, to the end of it, it was only about 5 minutes at the most. The entire thing explaining, when everything got explained to me and stuff, was maybe 10 minutes. It is a extremely, extremely quick procedure. Is it painful? Like I said, no, it's not painful at all. You cannot feel a single thing. When you get, the biggest thing is, you do want to take that nap when you get home, even if you need some help taking that nap. Your eyes will get a little bit irritated after the surgery and burn a little bit. So that's why they recommend you take that nap and wear your sunglasses while you're sleeping. How much did my LASIK cost? My LASIK cost a little over 3 grand, but again, my vision was terrible, absolutely terrible. Most people I've ever seen get LASIK is about one. I've actually met 3 people who qualified for $250 an eye, $250 an eye. Most people qualify for around the $1,000 an eye range, but mine was just a little bit more extreme, so that's why mine was a little over 3 grand for both eyes. How long did it take for my eyes to recover after LASIK? My eyes, that's kind of like a hard question to answer, because my vision was perfect. I could see. It's just there's a fog over it. So when I went home, went to bed and stuff, when I woke up, I didn't really feel like that fog was there. Of course, I still had my sunglasses on, and I kept those on quite a bit. I kept them on like religiously. So my eyes didn't take much time to get rid of the fogginess. There is a bit of blurriness from the inflammation, and that took about 3 months, like I said. Uh, but after the 3 months, my vision was perfect, and I was freaking out there for a minute. I was like, I spent all this money and my vision's not fixed. Your vision is fixed. It just takes some time for that to get fixed. Does it last forever? Now, this is kind of like a hard one to answer, because everybody's vision's different. For me, it probably won't last forever, because deterioration is a big thing in my family. My dad's got really bad eyes. Pretty much almost everyone in my family has had some sort of eye issue at some point. So with me getting LASIK done in my 20s, I'm not going to say in my 40s, 50s, 60s, my vision's still going to be perfect. Your eyes do still age. So I'm not going to tell you that it lasts forever or something like that, because I cannot guarantee that. But if I were to have issues in the future, I can always go back and get it done for free again. So I don't really worry about that. Okay, last one. What are the side effects? Side effects are burning and irritation if you don't take your nap. And I mean, I don't really find that much of a punishment. It's like, do this and go home and sleep. Well, all right, you don't have to tell me I need to go home and sleep. I can sleep anywhere, trust me. So there's burning and irritation. If you do not take care of your eyes, if you do not take care of your eyes and get an infection, that is where your biggest issues will come. You're always going to take a risk with any surgery, even if you're just going to the dentist or something. You're going to take a risk with something you're doing. So just keep that kind of stuff in mind. All right, guys. That's about all I can tell you today. If you have any questions, of course, I'll make another video. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my actual LASIK video. You guys have fun with that. I'm going to bed.